Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Talk English Freely. I am Jessica, and I am so glad you are here with us today.
And I am Brian. It is always great to have you with us.
Brian, have you ever had a really stressful experience at the airport, like running late or getting confused about where to go?
Oh, absolutely. I remember one time I almost missed my flight because I went to the wrong terminal. I was running through the airport with my bag, completely out of breath. That was honestly one of the most stressful travel moments of my life.
Oh, wow, that sounds awful. I think a lot of people feel nervous at the airport, especially when they are speaking in a foreign language. There are so many different situations: check-in, security, boarding, and more. Today, we are going to talk through all of it in natural, everyday English. And if you enjoy our conversations, please subscribe to our channel and give us a like. It really helps us.
It truly does mean a lot to us. Now, let us get into today's conversation.
Okay, Brian, let's start from the very beginning. When you arrive at the airport, what is the first thing you do?
Well, the first thing I always do is check in. These days, most airlines let you check in online before you even get to the airport. I always try to do that the night before my flight. It saves so much time and stress on the day of travel. But if I have checked luggage, I still have to go to the check-in counter to drop off my bags.
Right, same here. I always check in online when I can because you get to choose your seat ahead of time. But I almost always end up at the counter anyway because I usually have a suitcase to drop off. At the counter, the agent will ask for your passport and booking confirmation. You just hand them over and say, "Here you go," or "Here's my passport, please."
And then they usually ask a few standard questions. Things like, "Are you checking any bags today?" Or, "How many bags will you be checking?" You just answer simply, "Just one suitcase," or "No bags, just a carry-on." They might also ask, "Did you pack this bag yourself? And has anyone given you anything to carry?" These are standard security questions, and the answers are always simple and honest.
That is good to know. Brian, do you tend to travel light?
I try to. For shorter trips, just a carry-on. For longer trips, I bring one checked bag. What about you? Do you overpack, Jessica?
Oh, completely. I am a chronic overpacker, and I fully admit it. I always think, what if I need this? And bring way too much. My suitcase is always right at the weight limit. I keep telling myself I will do better next time, but it never happens.
I think so many people can relate to that. Packing light really does take practice. One good tip is to lay everything out and put half of it back. You almost never need as much as you think. And traveling light means you move through the airport so much more easily.
That is actually really smart advice. I am definitely going to try that next time. Okay, so after check-in, the next big step is security. That can feel like one of the most stressful parts of the whole airport experience. What do you do to get through security quickly, Brian?
I always prepare before I even get in the security line. I take my laptop out of my bag, remove my jacket and belt, and make sure my liquids are already in a small clear plastic bag. That way, when it is my turn, I am not scrambling to find things at the last second. It makes the whole process so much smoother. The most important thing is to listen to the security officers.
I totally agree. I learned the hard way once. I forgot I had a large water bottle in my bag and they made me throw it away at the security checkpoint. Now, I always empty my water bottle before I get to security, or I just buy a new one on the other side. It is one of those small things that makes a surprisingly big difference.
Liquids are really the most common issue at security. The rule in most countries is that liquids must be in containers of 100 milliliters or less, and all your liquids have to fit in one small clear plastic bag. If you are ever unsure, check the airline's website before you pack.
Right. And what happens if the security scanner beeps when you walk through?
That happens more often than people think. It is usually just something small, like forgetting to take your keys out of your pocket. The officer will ask you to step aside, and they will use a handheld scanner to check. Just stay calm and cooperate. They are just doing their job. It is not a big deal at all, and it happens to experienced travelers all the time.
That is so reassuring to hear. I think a lot of people panic when the alarm goes off, but you are right. It is almost always something minor. And the officers are generally pretty calm and professional about it. You just follow their instructions and it is over in about 30 seconds.
Exactly. Staying calm is always the best approach in any situation at the airport. After security, you have to find your gate. The departure boards are really helpful for that. Those are the big screens that show all the flights and their gate numbers. You look for your flight number and find out which gate to head to.
And Bryant, do you always go straight to your gate after security?
I try to. I like to find my gate first so I know exactly where I need to be. Then I might grab something to eat or have a look at the shops, but I always come back to the gate area with plenty of time before boarding starts. And gates can change last minute, so I always double-check the departure boards.
That is such a good habit. I once had my gate changed and did not notice until I was already standing in the wrong boarding line. It was really embarrassing. And now I check the boards at least 2 or 3 times before my flight.
It is worth it. Big international airports are basically small cities. They have hundreds of gates, shops, restaurants, and lounges. It is very easy to get turned around.
Definitely. How do you usually pass the time while you're waiting at the gate, Brian?
I usually grab something to eat first if I am hungry. Airport food is expensive, but sometimes you really need something before a long flight. After that, I find a comfortable seat near the gate and just relax. I might read, listen to a podcast, or just people watch. Airports are actually wonderful places for watching people. Everyone is going somewhere different, and I always make sure my phone is fully charged before I board the plane.
I love that people watching at airports is one of my favorite things too. You see families saying goodbye, business people rushing around, tourists looking at maps. I am usually on my phone or doing some work, but sometimes I just sit and take it all in.
It really is something special. Now, when it is finally time to board, what can you expect to hear, Jessica?
The boarding announcement usually says something like, "We're now ready to board Flight 302 to New York. Passengers in Zone 1, please make your way to the gate." Then you line up, scan your boarding pass, and walk down the jet bridge to the plane. The gate agent may check your boarding pass and passport one more time, so always have them ready in your hand. That way, you do not have to dig through your bag while everyone is waiting behind you.
That is really practical advice. And once you are settled on the plane, what do you do if you need something from a flight attendant?
You can press the call button above your seat or just politely get their attention when they walk past. You would say something like, "Excuse me, could I have a glass of water, please?" Or, "Could you help me lift my bag into the overhead bin?" And one phrase I really love is, "I am sorry to bother you," but it is a very polite way to start any kind of request. For example, "I am sorry to bother you, but could I have an extra blanket?"
That phrase sounds so natural and considerate. It shows that you respect the flight attendant's time. They work incredibly hard, and a little kindness really does go a long way. If there is ever a problem, like your entertainment screen not working, just explain it calmly. You might say, "Excuse me, my screen does not seem to be working. Could someone take a look at it?"
Right. And staying calm is really the key to everything when something goes wrong. Panicking never helps, but clear, polite communication almost always does. Flight attendants are very experienced and genuinely want to make your flight comfortable.
Absolutely. And after all that, when the plane finally lands and you arrive at your destination, what happens next?
If you have checked bags, you follow the signs to baggage claim. That is where the luggage carousel is, the moving belt where all the bags come out after the flight. You just wait by the belt until you see your bag and pick it up. If you are arriving in a foreign country, you go through immigration and customs before baggage claim.
Immigration can feel intimidating the first time, but it really is straightforward. The officer will ask questions like, "What is the purpose of your visit? And how long will you be staying?" You just answer simply and clearly, "I am here for tourism," or "I am visiting for 2 weeks." And always be honest. There is no reason to be nervous if you have nothing to hide.
And at customs, the officer might ask, "Do you have anything to declare?" That means, are you bringing in food, alcohol, large amounts of cash, or expensive goods? If not, you simply say no, nothing to declare, and you walk right through. It really is much simpler than it sounds the first time you do it.
Once you are through, you walk out into the arrivals hall and your trip truly begins. That moment of stepping out into a new city or country for the first time is one of the best feelings in the world.
It really is. All the stress of check-in, security, and waiting just disappears. And you are standing somewhere brand new, full of excitement. Brian, where was the last place you flew to?
The last trip I took was a domestic flight to visit some friends in another city. It was only about 2 hours in the air, but it was a great little trip, even for short flights. Having the right English phrases makes the whole experience so much smoother. What about you, Jessica? What was your most recent flight like?
My last flight was international. I flew overseas to visit a friend who lives abroad. It was a long flight, almost 12 hours, but the excitement about the trip made it feel so much shorter. And because I felt prepared, I knew what to say and what to do at every step. The whole experience was surprisingly relaxed. Preparation really does change everything.
It truly does. Confidence comes from knowing what to expect and what to say, and the more you practice these airport phrases, the more automatic they will feel in real situations.
For sure. And the most important thing to remember is that airport staff are there to help you. Check-in agents, security officers, flight attendants, they deal with travelers all day. They are experienced at helping nervous or confused passengers. Never be afraid to ask. A simple "excuse me, could you help me?" goes a long way.
So well said. You do not have to figure everything out alone. And every time you travel, it gets a little easier and more natural.
And Brian, what do you do if your flight is delayed? That is one of those situations where knowing the right English phrases can really help.
Oh, flight delays are so frustrating, but there is usually not much you can do about them. The first thing I do is check the departure boards to see if there is any updated information. Sometimes the delay is short, just 30 minutes or so, but sometimes flights can be delayed by hours, especially because of bad weather.
Right. And if you want more information, you can go to the airline's desk and ask. You might say, "Excuse me, can you tell me why my flight is delayed? Or do you know when we will start boarding?" The staff will usually tell you what they know, even if the answer is, "We are still waiting for an update."
And if your flight is significantly delayed or canceled, you have rights as a passenger. The airline is often required to provide you with food vouchers, a hotel room, or rebooking on a later flight. You can ask at the desk, "What are my options since my flight has been canceled?" It is good to know this because a lot of people do not realize they are entitled to help.
That is such important information. I had a flight canceled on me once, and I had no idea I could ask for a meal voucher. I just sat at the airport hungry for hours. Now I know to go straight to the airline desk and ask what they can do for me.
Knowledge really is power in those situations. The more you know about your rights and the right phrases to use, the better the experience will be. Even a bad travel situation becomes manageable when you can communicate clearly.
Absolutely. And one more thing that trips people up is understanding the announcements on the loudspeaker. Airport announcements can be hard to understand because they are often fast, and there can be a lot of background noise.
That is so true. The key is to listen for the most important words: your flight number, the gate, and the time. For example, if you hear Flight 302 and Gate B7 and boarding now, that is all you need. You do not have to understand every single word in the announcement. Just focus on the key information.
That is great advice. And if you miss an announcement or do not understand it, do not panic. Just check the departure boards. They are updated in real time and show all the same information. Or ask a member of staff nearby. They are always happy to help clarify things. Thank you so much for joining us today, everyone. We really hope this conversation about the airport gave you some helpful phrases and a lot more confidence for your next trip.
Remember, stay calm, be polite, And always have your passport and boarding pass ready. You will do great.
We would love to hear from you. Have you ever had a funny or stressful moment at the airport? Leave a comment below and tell us your story. We read every single one.
And if you enjoyed today's video, please give us a like and subscribe to Talk English Freely. It really helps us reach more learners around the world.
See you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.